I will be making some initial comments. Later on, we'll be hearing from Mary Tamer, who is both a parent and who is the school committee's liaison to the External Advisory Committee that's been working on this work. But just before 3 o'clock this afternoon, we received the 15,000th hit on our website, bostonschoolschoice.org. And 15,000 folks have weighed in since we released our proposals on September 4th, only less than a week ago. And last night, we held the 5th of 11 community meetings to talk about the 5 ideas we presented and ask for the public's feedback. I'd like to thank all of the BPS staff members who are dedicating literally hundreds of hours every night and every weekend to this effort. It's been an enormous undertaking, and it's been worth hearing the broad community comments. We were at St. Peter's Teen Center on Sunday, at East Boston High School on Saturday, at the Burke High School last week. This week we were at Jackson Man on Monday night, at Madison Park on Tuesday night. Tomorrow night we'll be at the Ornberger. Friday morning we'll be at Suffolk University, and Tuesday next week we'll be at Mattapan. You can certainly go online and find out about the other meetings. We have about a dozen community meetings scheduled for us to hear directly in every single neighborhood, and we've also had translators at these meetings so that we can hear from the diverse array of parents. We've received hundreds of emails, phone calls, and online survey responses from families across the city. Just quickly looking at our online responses so far, about 60% of the responses are coming from people who do have children in BPS, and 40% are from families who do not have students. And even some of the families who don't currently have students are families who are projecting to have students in the future. We've also received several well-thought-out proposals and some analysis, which we will be posting any analysis. We did communicate to Councilor Connolly today regarding his proposal, that we'll post that on our website, and we're doing analysis also of the Harvard report that many of you may have read about in the newspaper. The goal here is to have a thorough and meaningful community conversation about how we can improve school quality and also make it easier for families to attend the right school for them. People define quality in many different ways, but across the board, we're hearing that we can do quite a bit to remove the uncertainty that comes with the school choice process here in Boston. This is why we're also proposing, as part of these recommendations, and in part because of the hearing that 2 of our school committee members had, Mrs. Tamer and Mrs. Campbell, had a hearing on K-8 schools. We're proposing 5 new K-8 schools, the Condon, the Blackstone, the Hennigan, the Mattahunt, and the Trotter, as well as middle school pathways, and more logical and community-focused placements of ELL services and programs for students with disabilities, creating schools in communities that and also creating schools in communities that today lack access, but in the future should have a school in their community that is readily accessible. It is why we also propose to expand dual language and inclusion opportunities, along with the ongoing expansion of arts, science, after-school, and summer learning programs. Let me emphasize that with the ELL and with special ed, we will need to integrate any changes that we're making in service delivery to meet the standards that we have laid out in our Department of Justice agreement in regards to our ELL task force as well, and also make sure that we're following all state and federal laws governing special education. We received 45 recommendations for changes in special education from the Council of Great City Schools. We will continue to implement those, and they do call for more inclusion opportunities and also for us adhering to the placement of students in the most equitable and inclusive manners. Tom Hare from Harvard University has pointed out by looking across the state at the access to inclusion settings in the Commonwealth. He has identified that 46% of our students are in substantially separate settings. We believe that students do benefit from more inclusive environments, and we're working aggressively to try, as we look at these changes, to look at ways to improve those. It is also why we continue to work, as I mentioned before, with our Charter School Compact to better align our enrollment deadlines across all the options so that families have the best information about all the choices before them. I'd like to emphasize again that there is no perfect solution, but we do have a few guideposts we need to consider. These are areas that the External Advisory Committee has asked us to focus on. One is quality. and we're certainly working and proud of the success at our turnaround schools. I'm proud to say that I was at the Trotter today, and the Target Corporation opened a brand new library makeover that this is their 4th library makeover, but it was just absolutely exhilarating to see all the families turn out and the students and the work that they've done to refurbish and open up the space, paint, new carpet, and everything in this library makeover. Target has done library makeovers also at the Mather, at the Marshall, and at the Hennigan. Also, we were joined today by the Boston Food Bank, and the Boston Food Bank had a big showcase of fresh fruits and vegetables. Every parent at the Trotter got to take home 22 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables, and they will be coming back every single month at the Trotter, the Boston Food Bank, to offer fresh fruits and vegetables to the families at the Trotter. They also do that at the Hennigan as well. It is also why I think that it's important for us to see the solutions before us as both partnerships with the community as well as making sure that we make the right investments in these schools that are being turned around and customizing how we respond to each of these. The second focus beyond school quality is equity and making sure we have equitable access to quality. This means doing our very best to help all children have the same kinds of choices no matter where they live. It means ensuring diversity and working to compensate for the concentrations of poverty that exist in our city and among our families. And here we are offering a recommendation within this set of options and models to change the assignment algorithm for the first time ever would add a quality component for families who lack a high quality choice close to home. Whether it's the 6-zone plan, the 9, 11, or 23, this algorithm would include a quality trigger that recognizes that when a child has few quality choices in their walk zone than other families, it would then allow that child to have a higher priority for assignment to a different school. We have never done this before as a district, and it is a recommendation that will be a fundamental shift in how we think about equity and school improvement. It would also provide a strong incentive to improve quality at every level above and beyond the incentives that already exist. Finally, I would just like to take a moment to say a word about 2 issues that have dominated our feedback from families so far. The first is walk zone preference. This is something families told us they value during our community process in the spring and summer, and is something we will continue to protect as part of our proposals. A family living in a 1-mile walk to a school will continue to have that school as a walk zone choice under any of our zone-based models, even if that school is across a zone boundary. This is how it works today, and it's something we think works well for families. Plus, families have told us they would like to keep this as a priority along with sibling preference, the walk zone preference. Another consideration could be increasing the percentage of seats in a school that are set aside for students in the walk zone. Today, except for the Orchard Gardens, that set aside is 50%. We should look at whether or not that set aside should be another percentage, stay at 50%, go to 60%. As I mentioned before, at Orchard Gardens, the walk zone preference is 75% of the seats in that school. The second is grandfathering. If we were to implement any of these proposals right away, then a large number of students would be required to change schools. Again, we don't want that to happen in a less than predictable way. This wouldn't be right, especially when you consider that when we got feedback through our school climate survey, 94% of our parents told us that they liked their school. Our goal is to help new families choose the right school for them and have more predictability and less frustration in the assignment process. We believe that achieving this goal should not come at the expense of our current families who endured a confusing and stressful choice process to begin with and have no desire to change. We expect to include a robust grandfathering plan when we present our final proposals to the External Advisory Committee. We are looking at 2 possible options. One that would include a guarantee that any child currently enrolled in a school can stay until the exit grade. That's one option. It may phase out cross-zone bus transport. Another option would be phasing out cross-zone bus transportation after a few years for students who do not require transportation as part of their educational plan, but would not require any child to change schools. That is to say, we might allow people to go to the school if they provided their own transportation. We expect that we would phase out sibling preference for schools that are outside of student zone at some point as well, so we don't have children attending out of zone schools for 16 to 20 years, creating a lack of movement in this direction. We are pleased that hundreds of people have already shared their thoughts with us and are offering new ideas. As you know, we've been committed to full transparency from the beginning because it's what our parents expect and deserve. We will continue to put on our website other models or other options people present to us. We're excited about the robust conversations that's going on in our community, and we believe that we can come up with a solution to the challenges before us that address both the issues of quality and equity. That is the end of my report. Thank you.